So the second part of this is really for those of you on today's call or watching today's webinar who are technology companies or planning to become technology companies who are really looking to build cloud apps or platforms and really need integration. I mean, maybe it's for an onboarding of your new customers. So Informatica over the last year or two has done some extensive work with a couple of key technology vendors building out their applications. So we've worked very, very closely with our friends at Dun & Bradstreet. We're working very closely with MicroStrategy as part of MicroStrategy Cloud. So we've learned a lot along the way, and now we're going even further with what we call dynamic cloud integration templates. So the templates are really built on the Cloud Connector toolkit. It's kind of the next level up, and it's more of recognizing that there's repeatable processes. Not only do you need connectivity to an app, but typically you're connecting multiple applications, and you want to have the ability for a customer to really quickly get up and running and recognize that instead of reinventing the wheel each time, maybe it's an opportunity to order type of workflow between Salesforce and SAP, a very common use case for Informatica. Those are the kinds of things you want to make available, and we've been working really hard on not only making those available as prepackaged integration workflows, but to also make them parameterized, so really dynamic in nature from an end-user consumption perspective. So Ron, why don't you talk about that, because I know this is an area that you've been working closely with a lot of our ISV partners on.
Yeah. So I think probably the best way to actually talk about this is to go through a very specific example. So I'm going to go ahead and share my desktop again. And what I'd like to show you and talk about is the work that we're doing with Xactly. So Xactly, for those of you that aren't aware, they are a cloud compensation management solution, right? So they calculate commissions for sales reps, and it helps incent the customers to go off and or helps the reps go off and understand, all right, what am I getting paid today? What happens? What will I get paid if I close this deal? Right? So that's basically what they're working on. And we worked with Xactly on a prototype where they have a product called Xactly Express, which is built on the Force.com platform. And they have a use case where they have customers that have order data inside of QuickBooks that's running locally behind each customer's firewall. So they wanted to see if there's a quick and easy way to have pre-built integration with QuickBooks with their application. So what we ended up doing with them is we created a set of cloud integration templates, as Darren talked about. And these are essentially pre-built mappings that move data from QuickBooks to Xactly Express. In a very specific use case like that, where you're dealing with some very, with fixed endpoints, Xactly as a target, QuickBooks as a source, you're able to have a high amount of reuse across all customers. But you still want to provide some level of configuration. So the customer needs to be able to, as you can see here in this drop-down in the upper left, be able to provide some form of, let's say, a basic filter. Every customer may want to pull over certain orders just for their business case, right? So some level of customization on top of the pre-built integration. So the key point here is that provide that capability, and provide that capability in a user interface that is native to the end user's experience. And again, you'll see this in the demo. What will happen behind the scenes is that everything is going to be driven from the Xactly interface, but what actually gets run and what executes everything is Informatica Cloud. So those cloud integration templates are actually stored in Informatica Cloud. The configuration points, that filter condition that I talked about, is passed to Informatica Cloud, which in turn notifies a secure agent sitting behind the customer's firewall on the exact customization to those mappings that needs to be performed so that the data can move back and forth. All right, again, this will become much more clear when we take a look at the demo. All right, so let's first start off with the cloud integration template that we built together. So again, we're pulling from QuickBooks invoices and we're loading into Xactly as a target. And for every customer, there's a certain amount of formatting that's going to occur, that just simply to translate the format from QuickBooks into what Xactly needs. So every customer is going to see that. and they don't have to worry about that piece. But we do want to provide, again, some level of customization. So let each customer specify a filter that makes sense for them. And what you see with this integration template is that we have done things like this. The filter condition, the $in_filter designates that this is a parameter. So let each customer specify their own filter. Right? So what we do with this is we built this, we agreed that this is what we want, this is the kind of customization we want to allow each customer to be able to provide. And what we basically did here is we uploaded that template into Informatica Cloud. So we've got that inside of Informatica Cloud, and what gets exposed within Informatica Cloud are the parameters. And here you specifically see the filter parameter that's out there. And once you do that, once you publish a template to Informatica Cloud, what essentially happens now is there is a REST API that surrounds Informatica Cloud where a partner can now basically invoke these templates. So let's see how that works with Xactly. All right, so here I'm going to log in to Xactly's interface. All right, so here we're in the Xactly Express offering. This is actually their product right now, the production version of the product. And you see that there's an area here to import deals. So I want to grab my QuickBooks data and move it into Xactly. And what you see right now, this is the current interface. They currently support Salesforce, and they support external CSV files to be moved into Xactly Express. Now, what they worked on with us is, if you take a look, it's still pointing to the same force.com URL, but what they built in their look and feel is a native integration solution for QuickBooks to Xactly. So now you see a radio button for QuickBooks. When you have that selected, behind the scenes, there's a REST API call that invokes the template that I just showed you inside of Informatica Cloud. And then here, when you say types of deals to import, you're just going off, and this is going to be custom for every customer. So every customer can have a different set of configuration on top of that common template. So maybe I want to say where item code is equal to XA123. And every customer is going to have different item codes, of course. So the key point here is you've got a very contained user interface, very simple and easy to use. Most people wouldn't even consider this integration, and it's embedded inside of the Xactly interface. But what actually is happening, again, behind the scenes is it's actually being processed and executed using Informatica Cloud. So the story for the ISVs is provide your end users with a native integration experience, native to your app, no training required, but the ISV doesn't have to focus on building out integration from scratch, which, as we know, is a very difficult thing to do. So leverage our expertise. ISV companies can work on their core competency, and we'll take care of the basic data moving back and forth between the various apps that are required.
So if you're a technology company, you focus on the innovation and let Informatica focus on the integration.